Hi, I'm Laurie Buczek, and I grew up as a veterinarian's daughter. Lions, monkeys, dogs, oh my, that was my life. My dad has been a practicing veterinarian for 42 years in Central Ohio. We've had a variety of animals through his practice. Traditional dogs and cats are always there. Pocket pets such as hamsters, but also exotic animals and birds. My dad was the Columbus Zoo vet in the early 1970s. He also works on the circus animals whenever they come through town. He was one of the first veterinarians to incorporate alternative therapies into his practice, homeopathy and acupuncture. And he still today is the only veterinarian in Central Ohio that works on an emergency basis on exotics and birds. He also was Dr. Don, the pet doctor on Channel 12 television, and he's been a regular featured guest on WOSU radio. I learned at a very early age from helping him in the practice how important collaboration was. Collaboration is important for the health of the animal as well as the healthcare providers providing for that animal. The surgery room was the first place that I really learned a critical lesson about collaboration. This is me at age 4 in the surgery room. My dad had an emergency come in one night, a pregnant dachshund having trouble giving birth to babies. We had to work very quickly. Emergency C-section started, and my job was to take the babies after my dad extracted them, rub them, shake them upside down gently to get them to start breathing. I had to move on to the next baby as quickly as possible. We delivered 10 puppies that night, 9 lived, and we also saved the mom's life. And oh, by the way, if you couldn't tell, the best job at the vet hospital is the puppy handler job, and I had it. Now, there's a whole different side of collaboration, though, when you have to deal with an electric eel at the zoo. The electric eel delivers a volt of electricity that can kill a horse. So you're thinking this is an impossible case. Well, this is where you call in your experts. So my dad worked with the zoo handlers who pulled on hip boots, got into the tank, lifted the eel out on a rubber mat, and my dad was able to examine and successfully treat the eel. Case in point, where sometimes the people you have to work with and collaborate with are outside of your own team. Now, however, when it comes to elephants, I definitely take a more hands-on role. And there was a young elephant at the Columbus Zoo named Belinda. Here she is, pictured with Jack Hanna, and she had a really bad toothache. Normal course of action is to do a root canal. Well, my dad, in consulting with a human dentist, determined that it would leave too big of a gaping hole to fill, and so he decided to do a daily course of powerful antibiotic shots. Well, the elephant was a little nervous, so I was called in as a young kid to feed the hay to Belinda and to talk to her while my dad was able to treat Belinda. 31 years she lived. Now, what do you do, though, when you got a monkey on your roof? And we have had actually several monkeys on the roof of our clinic. One time, a little monkey got away from its owner right before before she reached the front door of the clinic. Well, we tried for hours to get that monkey off the roof, and we finally had to call in a Columbus Zoo expert, and between the Columbus Zoo expert, my dad, his staff, and the owner, we got the monkey into the net. He treated it, and the monkey actually ended up having a home at the zoo after that. Now, my dad did get a call, though, a very sad call, from a guy in southern Ohio one time about an emaciated 6-month-old lion who had been rescued by the Humane Society. It was about ready to be euthanized. It was 60 pounds when a lion should normally be 120 pounds at that age. Well, lo and behold, next thing you know, it's in our dog kennel, a heavily reinforced dog kennel, mind you, and my dad nursed the lion back to life. But then you're stuck with the lion, so you can't necessarily go, honey, I'm home with a lion. And so he worked collaboratively to find a place that would take the lion, a sanctuary in California, and a private donor who paid for the lion to be transported out there. This lion would have died a tragic death if we haven't collaborated successfully to save its life. Now, I was witness to a really interesting collaborative event in the early 80s at University of Utah, artificial heart transplant into this calf. This calf was the last step to the Jarvik 7 heart being put into Barney Clark. Years of innovation and collaborative efforts on the artificial heart between human and veterinary doctors have yielded and evolved the artificial heart to now it is saving lives of 4-year-old kids. Amazing what collaboration can do. Now, many of our patients that come into the practice spend a lot of their dog days marking or defending their territory. But I can attest as a veterinarian's daughter that if my dad and his staff behaved that way, those stories I just told you would have had a very different outcome. Collaboration is the foundation for delivering quality care to our patients. And at an animal medical and emergency hospital, collaboration saves lives every single day. Thank you.